everyone, my name is Melanie Day and I'm an HNC student at Glam Candy in Aberdeen, and I just want to hop on here quite quickly and just do a little mini review on this Studio Sculpt MAC foundation because it's amazing. So before we get into that though, just a little bit about the company itself. So MAC Cosmetics was actually formed only 35 years ago, which is crazy for how big it is, in 1984 by Frank Toscan, who was a photographer, and Frank Angelo, who ran a beauty store or a beauty salon and was a makeup artist. So the two of them felt at the time dissatisfied with how makeup, from other companies, their products showed up on film with the colour, the texture, and also just generally modern women felt it didn't necessarily meet their needs. So they decided to take it upon themselves and create their own, to use it for their photography, on their clients, on models, anything like that, in their kitchen as well. So the first MAC product was created in a kitchen, humble beginnings. So the two of them created that, and as it got more popular, they were selling it from the beauty salon where Frank Angelo worked, just to makeup artists, photographers, and the models as well. But word of mouth soon spread, as you can imagine, and they got more popular, so they ended up getting a counter in a department store in Toronto, so stepping up, but they became even bigger. Word of mouth spread again, it was just amazing, everyone loved it, so Nordstrom hopped on the bandwagon, and they wanted them to have a counter in their store as well. And from there, it was also, other established companies hopped on, so Saks, Macy's, Dillard's, Bloomingdale's, all the big ones at the time. So they were all really excited and just wanted it, in their stores because it was just brilliant. And then MAC had their own standalone stores from there as well. But in 1996, Estee Lauder bought over 51% of the company. And then in 1997, so the year after, it was 70%. So Frank Toscan said that he felt that that was a necessary step in order for MAC to expand globally, which is totally understandable. You kind of need some help from the big dogs sometimes. But celebrity endorsements were definitely a massive part in MAC's success. The pictures of Madonna, with the red lip, iconic, Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, Princess Diana, Cher, my queen, and Janet Jackson, to name a few, Mariah Carey, they all embraced this idea that MAC had of cosmetic innovation and creativity, and it really helped spread, their campaigns, and their foundations as well in particular are just incredible, like shade range wise. MAC has 15 foundations in liquid, cream, powder form, and they range in their finishes, coverages, if you want it light, medium, full, and their shade ranges are amazing because they not only have a lot of colours, but they do have NC and NW for the majority of their foundations. So that just means cool and warm, so you're getting all different tones within all those colours as well, which is great. A lot of other companies are doing that more recently, but MAC's focus back when they started was diversity and focusing more on deeper skin tones as well, which is kind of unheard of at the time, just a little bit, set themselves apart. So definitely the most popular foundation from MAC is undoubtedly their Studio Fix Fluid, because it's 24-hour wear, it's medium to full coverage, suitable for all skin types, it's got built-in oil control in it as well. So that one actually has 60 shades in the NC and NW, so it's amazing. If you're looking for a foundation, you might want to try that one, but personally this one here, the Studio Sculpt, I think is just as good, if not better personally, than the Studio Fix Fluid. So all of the foundations in MAC have an SPF of 15 in them as well. So if you were to try this one in particular, I would suggest wearing a lightly coloured powder, just like lightly tinted, just all over the face, lightly set it, just to offset and counteract any flashback you might experience if you're going to wear it somewhere that's going to have a lot of flash photography. You don't want to look like Angelina Jolie, we all remember that. But this foundation here is amazing. So it's suitable for all skin types, but it's amazing for more dry skin, normal to dry, because it's a gel-based formula. So basically that means that it's extremely hydrating for your skin and it gives you a lovely glow from within. So it does dry down a little bit, it's semi-matte, so you'll still have a nice natural sheen to the skin, just make you look nice and glowy, so it's really pretty. And I personally prefer this shade here, so it's the NC15, just says always on, I don't know if I can do that, just on the back there. I hate that I just did that. And they do come in NC and NW, and there is an NW15, which I probably should wear because it's more of a warm pink undertone to it, and it's still the palest of the W's. But I prefer the NC15 because I personally don't like to look pink when I do my foundation. Just a personal preference. I prefer more of a yellow, cool undertone. And I also feel that the NC is actually lighter than the NW15, even though they're both 15s. So I'm going to use this one here. So if I just decant a little bit of this, so it's just in this plastic tube here. So I'm just going to take a little bit out. So the great thing about the plastic tube as well, if I take just a little bit out into the back of my hand, you only need a tiny amount. It honestly, it goes such a long way. There we go, if I just take some. So I'm just going to take this onto my MAC 190S brush. So the S just means synthetic. And if I just start popping that just all over. So synthetic brushes are actually recommended for liquids and cream products. So you can already see the colour difference, amazing. I'm just going to be careful around my brow here. So yeah, synthetic brushes are amazing because the product, like the brushes don't have a cuticle in them, so the product isn't going to get stuck in your brush, and it's a lot more hygienic after you're cleaning it as well. If you're a makeup artist, that's probably a good shout as well, just, you know, to keep the hygiene up between clients if you're doing back-to-back appointments. I'll just pop a little bit of this on as well. So I'm going more for fuller coverage here, just because that's what I prefer, but you could honestly use half the amount that I'm using, and it's literally, it's almost nothing. It's like a pea-sized amount. I'm gonna pop that just all over. So I'm just gonna do 1/2 and you can see the difference, and then afterwards just fill in the rest. There we are. But yeah, so because it's in a plastic tube, you can get so much more product out of it. There's nothing I dislike more than a glass bottle for foundation, because you can't cut open a glass bottle and get the 4 or 5 remaining applications out of it as well. I'm just going to take that down the neck. So yeah, it's much better if you can use a plastic tube here, because you can just cut across it here and then fold this in and slide that back on top, so it prevents any makeup spillages in your bag as well. So if you do cut it, don't be afraid of it going everywhere, because it shouldn't do. So you can already see the colour difference there. And it is a very pale foundation, but needs must. I prefer to be a bit tanned, but you know, whatever. But yeah, so I'm just doing this in downwards motions here, just going with the direction of natural hair growth, just to prevent any streaking. There we go. But because of the synthetic bristles, they tend to stick together when you're applying. They don't tend to like split off and cast. So you're going to get a smoother application anyway out of your product. There we are. Just pop a little bit more just up the top here. There we go. Try not to be too careful with this, because I am going to go in with a buffing brush just afterwards. You don't actually have to. I feel that if you're more skilled using this brush here, like I'm not, then you could more than likely just get your entire face looking beautiful just with this brush alone. I personally prefer to use a buffing brush just in case, in place of a beauty blender as well. So I'm just popping that just over the top, just patting any areas, almost like a beauty blender. Just pop that just around. There we are. So once that's on, I'm just going to take my MAC 168S brush. It's another synthetic brush, so even though this is technically a contour brush, you can see it's angled here. It's great for getting in underneath the eyes and around the nose and the mouth as well. But I'm just going to take that just here and just brush downwards very gently. This is a good step as well if you're trying to dry down the foundation a little bit more. I actually don't tend to like gently pat all over the face, like you're pushing in air, so it's drying your foundation faster. If you're not going to set it with a powder, that's probably a good thing for you to do. But I normally don't do that because I do have to usually set with powder. Put this down there. So as you can see, just go from the side there. I'm just going to pot just a little bit up there. Just blend it around the eyes. So yeah, so this is a synthetic brush as well. So they tend to hold their shape a bit better than natural hair brushes. Just pop a little bit more on here. And just over my problem area that I've got. Just there. There we are. Yeah, make sure you blend down your neck as well if you're going to do this. There we are. But yeah, because it's a gel formula, it blends out so smoothly. It's beautiful. It's my favourite foundation I've ever used. And I think I've used every single foundation from MAC as well. There we are. Just pushing down the face. So yeah, so if I grab my powder as well, I'm just going to lightly set just where I would normally. There we are. Take some of the product off there. So I'm just taking just a little fluffy brush. Just lightly, a little bit here, just dab off, just like that. Just on any areas I know will get oily later on throughout the day. But you can see as I'm turning my face and up here as well, there's that beautiful sheen to the skin. And it will dry down a little bit more, but you'll still have that gorgeous glow once it's all finished. And so that I don't look completely dead, I'm just going to pop on just a little bit of lip gloss, just for colour. There we are. So the great thing about this foundation being semi-matte is that you could honestly like wait 15 more minutes. It won't be completely dry. You could still go in with a cream contour, cream blusher. It's not going to look all patchy as well, which is a little pet peeve I have with a couple of other formulas foundations. But if I just go side to side here so you can see, it's just glowing as you're turning. It's beautiful. So if you want to go and try this foundation, highly recommend the Studio Sculpt. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and just let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye!